So, welcome everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join me for tonight's masterclass. We are here today for the Take Back Control Masterclass. My name is Nadia Monroe. I am a certified life coach, and I have been a happy non-drinker now for almost 4 years. And I'm an expert in helping other people to get free from alcohol for good. So, that is where we're at. Today, I'm going to be teaching you my 3-step process that will allow you to finally take back control of your drinking and get free from alcohol for good.
Learn everything there is to
Yourself,
learn about
Greg.
life.
There we go. I'll do it for you. Perfect. Yeah. So, my process is different to probably any of the other processes that you have tried before. And I'm going to explain why that is, because in this method that I use, you can stop drinking, you can be free from alcohol, you can go about your day and enjoy your life after alcohol, and you don't have to use willpower. That is like the number one thing that most people try to do when they try to stop drinking. They try to be strong, they try to make promises to themselves and stick to it. But with the method I use, you do not need that at all. So that's what makes things different. And I'll talk about why that is. Hold on. So here's why my process is different. Instead of teaching you how to fight the urge to drink, right? So when we talk about the willpower, when you are trying to stop, you have this internal conflict going on in your brain, right? On one side, you're like, I really don't want to drink, right? I know how much it's hurting me, how all the negative effects that's happening when I drink. I don't want to drink. But at the same time, on the other side, you really want to drink. And sometimes you don't know why, right? But you have, and because of that subconscious desire, you have the urge to drink. And sometimes you're not even conscious of it. You're not even know where it's coming from, but it's there. And a lot of the other methods out there that are designed to try and help you stop, they teach you how to manage the urge, how to not give into it. They give you tips and strategies and techniques on how to overcome it. But the process I'm going to walk you through tonight, it actually helps you to remove the urge completely so that you no longer have to fight it, right? How good does that sound, right? To be able to stop drinking, enjoy life, and not have to worry about that possibility that you might be sucked back in, the possibility that you might have a weak moment and just decide to drink if something bad's happening, right? What this gives you is complete freedom. And that is the goal. Because here's what I always say, there's a big difference to being alcohol free. And when I say that, I mean actually physically dry from alcohol, not currently drinking, whether that's a day, a week, a month. There's a huge difference between being alcohol free and then being free from alcohol. And that is my hope for every single person on this call, every single person that I come into contact with, because it is totally possible for you. I'm going to show you how. And it means that you can live your life to the fullest without having this constant like chain around your neck or worry about like what if it happens, and what if you lose the will, right? So I just want to really set the scene that that is possible for you. That is the approach that I take with my clients, with myself, and with my partner. And I want you to know that it's possible for you too. So, as I said, my process does not include deprivation. You can go through this and not feel like you are depriving yourself. A lot of the time, when we stop drinking, we have this belief that it's we're missing out. Life will not be quite as good because we're going to always have to be the boring one at the party or be the one that can't go out and socialize with people because we can't have this thing, right? So, and that makes you feel deprived, which then makes you want it more, right? So, we don't want to be feeling deprived. We don't want to have to use willpower because willpower is finite, right? It can only last so long. It takes a lot of energy to stay strong. We don't, in this process, you don't feel like you're missing out on anything. And then that internal battle that we've all felt between should I drink, should I not, do I want to do I, that goes, which is the best part about it. So just quickly, a little bit about me, why I am so passionate about this. You can probably tell from my accent, I grew up in Scotland in the UK, which has got quite a heavy drinking culture. So I probably had my first drink when I was, I think about, I don't know exactly, but about 14. A bottle of white lightning cider. That was the kind of drink for the teens back in the day. Um, and then, although I didn't start drinking every week from that first moment, slowly but surely, I got very quickly into a pattern that we drank every weekend. That's just what the kids in my neighborhood did. We would find somewhere to go and we would all drink. And little did I know that from those first few decisions, I would then be hooked on drinking every week for the rest of my life, from when I'm 14 until when I stopped when I was 33, right? We do not sign up for that. And I was a binge drinker. I wasn't someone that like had to drink every night. Everyone experiences different. I wasn't someone that had to drink every night, but I was someone who drank to get drunk. Like I didn't really want one or two. I only ever drank to get drunk. And for so long, I didn't even see it as a problem because the culture we grew up in. I genuinely thought that was normal. Everyone was doing it. Until someone said to me one time, they asked me this question and it really made me think. They said, you know, Nadia, who do you know that drinks more than you? And I couldn't answer that question, which was a bit of a shock to my system. I started to realize that actually I was probably the heaviest drinker in every group that I would socialize in. And even then, even seeing that, I didn't stop for years later, right? That was just the first kind of notification to me that maybe this is more of a problem. But what did continue to happen is I would get heavily drunk. I would do things and say things that weren't really who I was. I would wake up and have that cringe moment, you know, when you get flashes through your brains of stuff that you've said or done, and just be mortified at my behavior. And that would show up in like work. Like in work, I was when I was drinking, I was a manager. And then I would be at a social event and make a fool of myself. You can't recover from that. It would cause fights with my partner. Because I was hungover, I would be less of a good parent because I really just wanted to be alone to left to like die and recover. So there were so many down points. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is like not everybody needs to be at rock bottom to want to stop drinking, right? Drink isn't good for anyone, really. And everyone's experience is different, but it doesn't make it any less of a reason to stop. So that was my experience. I wouldn't have said I was an alcoholic, but I was a binge drinker, a very heavy binge drinker that would always take it too far and have the repercussions that were really, really negative on my life and every aspect. So that was my experience. But I've also helped people who are further down that path that do have tried other things like AA and, you know, different kind of outpatient programs to try and stop because their drinking has gotten to a point where they really can't control it and they don't really know what to do. My partner actually had a much more severe drink problem than I did, to a point when it was really, really, you know, ruining his life and ruining our lives. And through the process that I'm going to take you through today, he's been able to completely turn his life around. You know, both of us have, we've achieved goals like buying houses, renting them out, our businesses are booming, our health, my health, I'm a runner now, I work out. Like there are just so many positives to when you stop and you do it in this way that's free rather than, you know, constantly having to work your way through it. So I have seen firsthand through myself, my partner, and then I went on to help clients with this and see how much it's actually changing their lives. So that is why I'm extremely passionate about it. It almost ruined our lives. And we've been able to completely turn things around and also for all of the clients that I've helped as well. So if you are here, you are likely in one of two camps. Okay. So just like I said, you could be, you know you're drinking is a problem and it's worrying you and but you don't know how to handle it, right? So this could be someone that's maybe not what they would class as at rock bottom, right? They're still functioning, they still work, they still have a life, but their drinking is causing them a lot of negative outcomes. They're waking up every day hungover. They're below par at work. They're hungover, which means they're doing less at home. They're not being as good a parent. Like it doesn't need to be rock bottom to be a big enough problem to want to stop. So if you're there and you're either like a binge drinker like me at the weekend, that's what I used to do, or you're someone that gets home and is stressed, and their only way to get relief is to pour a glass of wine or whatever drink you want, and then it turns into another and another, and the cycle continues. If that's where you are, then this program is here for you too. This process will help you too. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that. And then, oh, sorry. And then it's also here for you if you are that person that is a little bit further down that line and you're stuck in the cycle. You've been trying to stop, you've been using different programs, you have been, promising yourself and really putting a lot of effort into trying to stop. You've maybe stopped for, a week. Oh, sorry, I'm just letting people in. A week, before, even a month, even longer. But that whole time you've been miserable. It's been hard. You've had to avoid things. You've had to fight that internal struggle, right? If that is you as well, then this process is exactly what you need. Okay. If you've been trying hard, but whatever you do isn't working, then I just want to reassure you that everything can change from here on out. So all you need, and this is what I really want to make clear for you, is a new path forward, right? It's to see that whatever it is you've been doing in the past isn't working, whether you've tried or not, you've been too scared to try, right? You just need a path forward that tackles the real problem. Okay. And we're going to talk about that. But I really want to make it clear to you that this is not a you problem. This is not where you are right now in your life. It's not because you're weak or you, are just have an addictive personality. Like this has got nothing to do with you. When you think about it, we have been, as a society, sold, promoted to drink alcohol from our childhood, right? And when I say that, I mean we have watched the grown-ups in our life drink. They drank when they were happy to celebrate. They drank when they were sad to commiserate, right? It's been sold as the norm to us for our entire life. In the movies, like, I want you to think about that, or programs that you watch. Every single program, right? And you can't unsee it now when I say it to you, right? Every single movie is when they get home from work, they pour a glass. When they're stressed, anything, there's always alcohol. And it's just so heavily promoted, which is just seeped into our belief, right? That this is the norm. So you're fed that this is the norm. You should drink alcohol. And alcohol is it's a poison, right? That's just the truth. That is exactly what alcohol is. And we'll talk about that. Which is a highly addictive substance, both mentally and physically. So you're sold to do it. So you do it, you follow the path, and then you become addicted. And then it's made out that you are the problem, right? So I just want to say that to say it's nothing to do with you. You're not the problem. The problem is the system that you're in, the trap that you're currently in. But even though it's not been your problem that you have got where you are today, right? And it's not, you are still in so much more control than you think you are. You just need to find the right path forward. It doesn't mean you're stuck. You're never stuck. You have control from here on in. And I'm going to show you the simplest, easiest way to get free from it. Okay. So, in today's masterclass, this is what we are going to cover. We are going to be talking about, first of all, why what you have tried hasn't worked, right? We're going to be talking about the various methods that you've probably tried, and why it hasn't worked. I am going to walk you through the 3 steps that I use and recommend that help you actually take back control and allow you to, change your whole relationship with alcohol and get free. And then I'm going to tell you what it would look like for us to work together if you decide that that is the path that you want to go down. If you want to get more support or one-on-one support from me, then I will tell you at the end how we can do that. And then, of course, I will open up to live questions. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Okay, so let's dive in. What you've tried before, right? Now, I'm just going to run through these because I'm sure you have experienced a mix of all of these. There's somebody coming in. Hold on. A mix of all of these. And that's when you've made promises to yourself that you wouldn't drink, right? We've all been there. We've woken up in the morning and we're like, oh my God, whatever I did last night, like you're cringing, it was so bad, and you're like, I'm never gonna drink again. Or even you're just waking up fed up because, you said you weren't gonna drink last night. It was like a Tuesday night or something. You said you weren't gonna, and then you ended up a whole bottle down. You've woke up foggy again, you feel like rubbish. You didn't get up and do your run like you said you were going to do, whatever it is for you, right? You make promise to yourself that you're not going to drink, and something happens before you know it. Something will happen at work, and you'll just automatically make a decision. Screw it, I'm just going to have a drink, right? The pain that you made the promise with seems to fade as the days or the times go on. And before you know it, it doesn't seem as bad. And you're convincing yourself it's actually okay to drink. I'm just going to do it. And then you're just repeating, stuck in that cycle. Another thing is you shame yourself, right? When depending on the level and if you heavily drink, whether it's daily or when it's like binge drinking, where you get yourself to a state and then you remember all the horrible things that you've said or done, you really come down hard on yourself and talk so badly to yourself that you're trying to shame yourself into not drinking, right? It's like we beat ourselves up thinking, right? This is the catch, right? We think if we are horrible to ourselves and that we beat ourselves up and, we tell ourselves how horrible a person we are, that is going to help us not drink. But like I'm sure if you're here, that doesn't work, right? It would be like if a kid makes a mistake when they're trying to learn something new and you think shouting at them and being horrible to them is going to help them learn the new skill. Like it just doesn't work, right? So you probably tried that. You've probably tried the constant reminders, like people make lists and think like, whenever I feel the urge, I'm just going to remind myself of all the reasons that I shouldn't drink or all the reasons I don't want to drink, right? You've probably tried to distract yourself with hobbies, right? Because that's a big method that is out there, right? Just stop yourself from doing it and do something different. Like go out on a walk, pick up a hobby, do something that you haven't done before to fill you. The essence of it is to try and fill your time where you would normally be drinking with something else to distract yourself, right? But the problem with that is that's not actually solving any problem because there will be a time where you're not going to be busy and then you can't escape your own brain. The problem is in your, excuse me, the problem is in your brain, so you can't escape that. So no matter how many hobbies you take up, no matter how much you try to keep yourself busy, one, it's exhausting because you can't be busy all the time. And two, it just doesn't work because you can't outrun your own brain, right? It's always going to be there. And the last one I've got here is, yeah, the technique of trying to hide away from people or places that include alcohol. Like, how many times have you said, right, I'm not going to drink, so I'm definitely not going to hang out with like Laura or Jim or whatever because they drink. The best thing to do is for me to, either stay away and lock yourself to yourself, which is, as we probably know, not helpful, or, just try and find new friends that don't really want to drink, right? But again, the same problem persists because it's not in your day-to-day action that's the problem. Your day-to-day actions of wanting to physically go and pick up a drink is coming from what's going on inside your brain that's creating this desire for you to want it. So when you use tactics and tips and tricks like this to try and combat it, that's why it doesn't work because it's not solving the right problem, right? These methods don't work because you're trying the whole time with all of them. You're trying to stop yourself from doing something that you still really want to do. I need you to hear that because people argue that I don't want to do it, right? And they're like, I don't. Like, I know all the reasons, I know all the repercussions. I don't want to do it. And I get that. It is so true. I know that you logically know why you don't want to drink, but there is still this subconscious desire because you believe, because of all your conditioning, because of all your life experiences up until this point, you believe that drinking alcohol gives you something, right? So there is a subconscious desire most of the time, and there's normally a number of them per person, right? We've all got unique like lives that have got us to this point. So we have different beliefs about it. And there's normally, or there's always more than just one reason you have this sort of subconscious desire to drink. And sometimes you're not aware of it. Like loads of people are like, I don't know, I just need to drink. Like they can't articulate why. Um, but it's there, right? And just because you're not aware of it doesn't mean that you don't want it. There are reasons, because trust me, you wouldn't do it if there was no desire to drink. Like if there was like you wouldn't, your actions are always driven by how you feel in the moment, right? Like so you wouldn't pick up, I don't know, like a rock and start chewing it, right? Because there's zero desire to do that. There's loads of negatives, but there's no desire to do it. There's no gain in your mind. Whereas with drinking, there is some kind of gain, right? So I want you to think of willpower, right, which is the most common method people use to stop, is like I want you to imagine it like, and this is why you struggle, it doesn't work, is I want you to imagine it like it's a beach ball full of air and you're in a pool. And when you use willpower to try and stop yourself doing the thing, drinking, what you're trying to do essentially is submerge that beach ball under the water, right? I'm sure you've tried to do that on holiday at some point, right? It's really hard to push that ball down and have it fully submerged underwater, right? You need to use your body and, really take a lot of effort and figure out how to cover it completely and actually bring it down. And then even when you're under there, you can't just relax. You've got to maintain the same level of control of that ball. Otherwise, what happens? It just slips away from you so quickly in the tiny second if you're not paying attention properly. And what does it do? It shoots up, it bobs up out from the water. So that's what you're doing with this, trying to fight yourself willpower method to stop, right? It takes so much effort, it takes precision, and no human being can do that forever, right? I mean, it does work. Some people can. I won't say no human beings because some people do it their whole life, right? And they have a lot of what's the word, discipline and willpower, and they're like, I am not going to. But what I will say is, while it is possible, it takes a lot of work, it's a lot of effort. You're generally always vulnerable because you might just lose that strength in a moment. And most of the time you're miserable because you're having to stop yourself from getting what you want, right? These techniques are not only helping you or stop, not helping you stop, but they're actually making it harder. So think about a time, right? I like to give an example. Excuse me, I'm going to take a drink of water. When you were trying to be good, right? And not eat sweets or chocolate. We've all been there. We're probably eating too much at Christmas time, thinking, right, I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to eat all this rubbish anymore, right? I'm taking a break. I'm going to be good. I see it in bird comments, be good. And what happens? All you can think about is chocolate and sweets. The deprivation, the sort of line in the sand when you say, I'm not going to do it, all that does is make you want it more. That is the way our brains are wired. So the techniques are not only not working, they're actually making it harder. And they don't work because you're not addressing the real problem, which is the subconscious desire to drink, right? I really want you to see that. Doing it any other way is like having a constant headache. Imagine you woke up every day with a constant headache and you were taking paracetamol every day to treat it, instead of figuring out what it was that was causing that headache in the first place and treating the cause. These are the difference with the other methods that use willpower and the method I'm going to talk to you about. True freedom from alcohol is where you no longer need to fight the urge to drink. You can be around it with ease and it not bother you in the slightest. And this is what my program gives you. Like, I never thought that would have been possible, right? I loved to drink. I was like, this is life. Like, I had so much fun. I had all these stories tied up in it. I would be actively annoyed if any of my friends came out and they weren't drinking. Like, it's actually embarrassing now, but I was furious. I was like, no, I don't want sober people. We need to get drunk. Right? So if you'd have told me this a while ago, years ago, because it's been almost 4 years, I would have never believed you. But now I can happily pour drinks for people. They come to my house. I am like, if you want to drink, that's fine. It doesn't bother me. It is what true freedom is. And that's what I want for you. So here are the 3 steps, okay, that we're going to talk about today. first is accept, and I'm going to dive into each of them as we go on. But the 3 steps to really get free and take back full control is accept, remove, and embrace. And we're going to talk about them. So the first thing is that you need to accept that pretty much up until this point, everything that you have been led to believe about alcohol is a lie, right? Everything that you've been taught, you've experienced, it's all just a lie. It's not true, right? So here's a couple of things that you've been taught, and we're going to stop on the one at the end. But you've been taught to believe, like we spoke before, that it's normal, right? It's normal to pour this, what is actually factually poison, down your throat every week, every day, for the rest of your life. Even though it's doing so much internal damage to you, it's doing so much external damage because, drinking is the thing that, causes fight, domestic abuse. It causes like it's involved with all of the bad things in the world, right? I don't need to tell you that. But you've been taught that it's totally normal and it's the thing that we all should be doing. You've also been taught that you're the problem if you can't just drink responsibly, right? It's absolutely shocking the way that this is all being portrayed because you're taught to do it, then you get hooked on this extremely addictive substance, and then you're taught that you're the problem. So nobody even admits it. You can be struggling alone and you don't tell anyone because you don't want to be known as someone that has a problem because it's got such a negative connotation on it, right? So that's another thing that you've been taught that is just absolutely not correct. And then the last one that's keeping you stuck in this cycle is that it is hard to stop. And that is the one I want to focus on with you right now. I want you to have to open your mind for this process to work. The first step is really accepting that what you know until now isn't true and that there is another way. You have to open your mind that actually, even though when you Google, right, how to stop drinking or anything like that, the message is always like, it's hard. It'll take work, like years, follow the steps, like whatever it is, like when you fall off the wagon, get back on one day at a time. Like it's taught to everyone that you need to, it's going to be this long, drawn out process. And then once you're an alcoholic, that's it. Or once you have a problem, that's it. You're going to have this problem for life. And it's just not true. Like I see so many people, pleading and writing, like, "Oh, I'm back at day one again. I fell off and I did it." And they're so disappointed in themselves because they think they're the problem. And it's because they're fed this message that it's hard to stop. And that's the method that they are then using. But I really want you to accept that that is not the case. And I'm going to explain that. And that it doesn't need to be hard to stop. Okay. You have to open your mind to the fact that it can be easy. Right. And I'm going to give a little example here, right, of how you can change things super easy, right? And it's not the same as alcohol. I get that, but I just want to show you how we can change our minds on things in an instant, even if you've been doing it for years. So I want you to imagine, right, if you have kids or you don't, just bear with me, right? So if you had a baby and, you had this cream that you put on your baby every day, all right, like it was a great moment. Every night you would rub this cream all over your baby and it was blonde and, it smelled amazing and she loved it and you loved it. And it was just this whole big thing. And you've been doing it for years, right? Until the child's like maybe 4 or 5. And then suddenly this piece of information comes out that actually that same cream was like giving babies cancer or like killing babies or giving them some kind of like severe skin problem, right? Whatever it was, you learned this information about this cream that you thought was this amazing thing. How quickly would you throw that cream away and never use it again? And I know you're going to argue, but it's different. Alcohol, you're actually addicted to it. And I get that. And we're going to talk about the different types of addiction. But I just want you to start opening your mind that just because things have been a certain way for a long time, things can change in an instant if you let them and you're open to it. Okay? So, quick drink. Number 2. The second step in this process is to remove, right? And when I say that, I'm talking about the subconscious desire that is actually keeping you stuck. That's what we spoke about before. So when we talk about the addiction to alcohol, there are two sides to it, right? You've got your physical addiction and you've got your mental addiction. And while the physical addiction is 100% real, I just want you to be aware of one of the pitfalls that people can fall into because, again, we're told that you're physically addicted, which you are, but the physical addiction is so much smaller than the mental side of the addiction. And people confuse that. People aren't even aware of the difference sometimes, really, right? Because they feel an urge and they just think it's physical, but a lot of the time it's actually mental. And I'm just going to decipher between that. So the physical addiction is one side, but, and this isn't, I'm not talking like, see if you are like an extreme alcoholic that is actually dependent on that drink, like if you've been drinking all day, every day for your whole life, you might want to go and get medical help to like wean off it, right? I am not, that's not my wheelhouse, okay? If that is the level you're at, I would definitely recommend you do that. But for the majority of people, the alcohol in your system, you can wean off it yourself. And it actually is out of your system by like 2 to 3 weeks, really, right? And yes, depending on how much you've drank before, it can be a bit uncomfortable. Some people get the shakes, get the sweats, they can't sleep, but it only lasts 2 or 3 weeks. Some people don't even get it that bad, right? But it only lasts 2 or 3 weeks. And then once the alcohol is out of your system completely, the physical withdrawal that you experience, because when you drink alcohol, the substance then creates a withdrawal every time you stop drinking, which is why you want to drink. That's part of it, right? You want to drink to get that fix, to bring you back up to the normal. A whole other story. It's not the normal, it's actually, the alcohol brings you down to less than baseline, right? So then you have to keep drinking to get back up to just baseline, to where normal people are every day without drinking. Anyway, I digress a little bit. But there's a physical addiction, then there's a mental addiction. And the mental addiction, so if you've stopped for over 3 weeks, I want you to start to see that it's nothing to do with the physical addiction anymore. And saying I'm physically addicted isn't helping you. It's really not, right? Because the physical addiction is the smallest part of it, and you can 100% get through that period. It's maybe a little bit uncomfortable. It's not great, but it's totally fine to do on your own, right? But it's the mental addiction. It's that part, the thoughts of how much you want it, even if you don't know why, like it's that side of it that is keeping you stuck in this cycle and has probably kept you stuck for a very long time. It's the desire. So some of the desires that show up, and as I say, everyone is different because of their own experiences, but like you might not see it as desire, but basically what the desire is that you think you're getting something from drinking the alcohol. So whether that is for you that when you get home after work and you're stressed, that glass of wine or that beer or whatever it is the only thing that takes the edge off. It just helps you to relax. It helps you to just breathe and just like chill out for the night. So you think you're getting that bit of relaxation or that hit from the drink, right? It could be that it helps you to be more confident. Like say you don't like socializing, say you get anxiety and you're really nervous to go out and meet people. Maybe alcohol, that's what you think that's what it gives you. Maybe it gives you energy. Energy, like I was speaking to someone yesterday, like they used to think it gives them energy to then go and get the housework done. But then it also at the same time totally numbs them and then the housework doesn't end up getting done. Like we've been taught that alcohol is the fix for so many opposing scenarios that like you really want to question if it is actually true. But this is where the desire is. You believe that it's giving you something, right? And that is why you keep going back for it, right? It's the desire, the beliefs about it that make you keep wanting to drink. And so for the way out of this is to remove that desire. You have to identify. And as I say, there's normally numerous and they're not always like consciously available to you, right? Because you're not aware of them. But the key to actually get free is to identify what it is for you and actually do the work to remove that desire, right? Because if you don't have any desire, you will not drink, right? Having the desire is the problem. That's what I want you to take from this. That is the desire, the subconscious beliefs, what you get from alcohol is the problem, that what makes it hard for you to stop. Now, you might be thinking it'll be really hard to do that because, whatever it is you believed for such a long time, right? Like it does, you firmly believe that whatever you think you're getting from alcohol is true. You're getting it. Like it is helping you, and you want to argue that, right? And I understand why. It's just what you've known to be true for so long. And you might be thinking it's going to be really hard or it's going to take a really long time to be able to change that. But I want you to know that it really doesn't need to take a long time. It doesn't need to take a long time when you have the right process, when you know how to figure it out and unwind all of these beliefs about alcohol that are not serving you, that keep you wanting it. So I want to give you a quick example of how things can change really quickly. So this is a bit of an extreme example, but imagine you had been in a relationship with someone for years. Say you were even married to this person, okay? Um, yeah, you knew them really well, you loved them, you were married to them, whatever. And then again, all of a sudden, you find out that actually they're not who you thought they were at all. And they were like a psycho who had murdered lots of people and then buried their bodies in the back garden, right? Again, I know I'm being extreme, but I'm just trying to show you. But like, how quickly would your feelings for them change? Right? Would you still look at them with the same love? Would they be looking after your children? Like, how quickly, if you had the evidence that they'd been murdering or hurting people and doing all this horrible stuff, you would change in an instant. And that had been someone that you'd lived with and loved and been with for a long time. Your brain can change in an instant, right? It's not about time, right? It's not about, you know, just putting in the reps and trying harder. It's not. It's about changing the way you think. And that can be done quickly. So I really want you to see that it doesn't need to be a long-winded process. And I want you to think about this. How would it be? What would it be like if you genuinely didn't have any desire to drink? Like you would see people instead of thinking, you wish you could do it too. And here's a big thing that happened for me is that once I had gotten myself free to the point where I had zero desire and I did not want to drink, when I saw other people drinking, instead of that like jealousy or like, oh, worry because you think you're going to want it, I genuinely looked at them with a bit of pity. And not in a bad way. I'm very compassionate to everyone, but I'm like, they're still stuck. Because you don't know what anyone else's um experience is with alcohol. Like they might seem like the party happy person that's having a drink, but you've no idea. At the end of the day, alcohol is a poison, it is addictive, and there's generally only one way to go. Even if you're like managing it now, the chances are it might get worse, right? So then the third step is to embrace the life after, right? Did I go through it? Embrace the life free from alcohol. Here is one of the other misconceptions that we are sold is that life is worse or boring or just less than in general without alcohol, right? But the way I teach it is you want to enjoy the experience. Every time you experience a moment where you would have turned to drink or you would have gotten drunk or whatever, instead of it being this like I've given it up or I'm not able to do it anymore, we want to work on enjoying the experience from the get-go. Like when I work with people, we don't hide away. Like as soon like from the get-go, you've to be out with people who are drinking if that's what you want to do. Like if that would be in your normal social circumstance, we don't want to hide because we want to relearn that life isn't less without, it's actually better. And you only learn that by going out and seeing it with like it's like fresh eyes and actually enjoying the experience. You also at this stage have to learn how to handle life without turning to alcohol. So, for example, if you were someone that really drank to help with stress, or, if you were lonely, or, whatever it is that you were using alcohol to help you with, we have to go through a process to learn how to handle and solve for these problems without the alcohol. But here's the kicker: when you're no longer drinking and you're free, as in the mental space is free because you're no longer having to think about it or battle it or like any of that, you have so much more mental clarity and space to actually handle the things and learn skills to handle and move forward and actually enjoy your life. And then that opens up your time to live with intention. There's so many people that have come to me and their whole life was about drinking. They were either trying not to drink and miserable, or they were trying to, they were drinking but trying to manage it, moderate it. Like their life, it was taken over by alcohol. And once they were able to get free, it's like, well, what now? Right. And that can be a bit daunting, right? So you have to learn how to like the transition period. But then it's like, what do you want for your life? Like people have started hobbies not to like distract, but just because they're like, well, what do I want? Now I have all this time, I have all this money because I'm not drinking, I have all this freedom. Like, what do I want my life to be like? And this is all feeding into the thing that life is better without. It's not less than, it's not boring without alcohol, it's better. So I want you to really think about this. What would change in your life if you were free from alcohol? Not just stop, not just, using staying strong and not drinking for as long as you can, but actually mentally free. Like if you can, type it in the chat, like what would your life look different? Like what would be different? For me, one of the best things for me is that I've got two young girls. And when I used to drink at the weekend, like that's what my weekends were about. Like having a drink Friday, Saturday night, Sunday, I would wake up dying, hungover, wanting my mum to look after the kids so I could recover. Then my week would get shot because I couldn't be bothered and would just get a takeaway and then I wouldn't prep. And like just so many snowball effects happen with drinking. And now, like my weekends, I'm like, my partner normally works on a Saturday and that's fine. Me and the girls hang out. But now Sunday mornings are like, we will go on a bike ride. We will go swimming. We will like just do something together as a family. And I know that sounds so basic, but when you've never really had that as an option before, like the little things are great. The other thing for me is my health. Like I don't know if I said before, but like I had so much more energy once I stopped drinking because I was never hungover. And it does just change how you look at your life and your fitness and health because I became a runner. Like, trust me, I was like, before I stopped drinking, I was a drink a lot, eat a lot of takeaways, and like I definitely wasn't a runner. I'd never ran in my life. But I decided that I wanted to be. I wanted to be healthy. So I became a runner. I used to get up. I don't get up this early anymore, but I used to get up for about a year or 2 years, really early in the morning, like 5 in the morning to be able to go for a run. And I felt amazing with it. I'm not saying that that needs to be what you do, but all of these things open up to you when you're mentally free and then physically free from alcohol. So I really want you to think about what it would be like in your relationships. My relationship improved tenfold because we were not in a good place. He was heavily drinking most of the time. I was heavily drinking at the weekends. We fought. We didn't talk. Like so many things at work. You know, I was just below par. I just wasn't reaching my potential. But the kids, they got way more screen time than I want as a mom. I spent loads of money on it. Like, as I say, my health, like there is just so many negative effects from alcohol. And I just want you to start to think of like life would be 10 times better if you were able to take back control and really get free from alcohol. So I know what I'm telling you sounds a little bit too good to be true, right? Oh, I I'm telling you that it can be quick and easy and enjoyable, right? Which is so foreign in this space, right? Because most of the times it's like hard and you got to try and work hard and just day one and keep going and start over. And I'm telling you the complete opposite of that, from that, right? Because that is just what I know to be true. But I don't want you to just take my word for it. I'm going to share a really short video of a client of mine, and she's going to share her experience with.
Before we started working together, I was constantly thinking about alcohol. I was trying my best to, with my own willpower, to quit drinking and trying everything I could in my power. I'd been trying to quit drinking for about a year. I didn't believe it in the beginning. I didn't believe this could be true, that I would ever get to the point where I would not want alcohol. I thought I was always going to be fighting myself on this. And so I didn't really believe it in this. I mean, I trusted I trusted you, Nadia, but I just didn't really think it was going to be true for me. And now that we've been able to have those really deep discussions about what alcohol really does and all the negatives, I'm finally able to not want to drink. I would say to someone that I've tried everything. I've tried the rehabs, sober living, intensive outpatient, inpatient, AA, smart recovery. I've tried it all. And I finally feel like this is going to stick. I finally feel like my mind has changed about alcohol, where before it was just fighting myself not to have that first drink. I finally feel like drinking was boring and got rid of that idea that drinking was fun. It wasn't fun drinking in the closet by myself. What's fun is going to be all the things I can do now that I'm free to do and have all this opportunity and time and headspace to do so many things that I could never even dream of before. One specific example was when I was going to meet my friends from high school, and somebody suggested going to a brewery. And I invited another friend, and she said, "I can't go to a brewery. I'm an alcoholic." And I didn't say anything, but to myself, I was thinking, "Oh, I'm so lucky. I can go anywhere now. I can go into a bar and have a soda and socialize and listen to music and meet friends. And that's the fun part, not the alcohol." And now I know that. I'm so excited about the future right now. Today, I'm really happy. I've been miserable for a long time when I was drinking. And then over the last year, when I was trying to quit drinking, I still wasn't very happy. But today, I feel free from alcohol. I can focus on my relationship and my nutrition and eating and just things that are making me overall healthy. I have a better relationship with my kids. I'm looking forward to taking them everywhere and traveling with them. And I don't have to worry about like sneaking away to go have a drink anymore. We can just do fun things together. And I really look forward to a better relationship with my partner and my kids and just all the fun things I'm going to be able to do now that I've taken out that huge piece that was in my mind, taking up so much space all the time. When am I going to be able to drink? How can I drink? Am I going to get away with it? And now I don't even have to worry about that. I can really enjoy my life. I'm so glad I found you. I feel like I had to go through all those other things. They didn't work. And then I kept trying something else. And I just wish I would have found you earlier. Nadia, thank you so much. You've helped me enormously.
So I share that with you just to show you that, like, no matter where you are right now, like, even if, you know, you've been struggling for a while and you are in the place of like, this is going to be what it is, right? I'm just going to have to just deal with it. I'm just going to have to manage it. If you listen to where she was to where she is now, and that was in a really short space of time, like if she can do it, then so can you. This process works regardless of where you are right now. Because it really treats the real issue instead of just the surface level problems. Okay. Just like I said before, it's not just being alcohol free, it's about being free from alcohol, and that is what you can have. And then I just shared another couple testimonials, just different examples from a couple clients that, you know, they're happier because they can enjoy their time and not have to worry about getting home quickly so they can start drinking. And Alan with his anxiety, like he used to drink because it was terrible. And what he realized is that it made it worse. And now he actually just has skills on how to deal with it so that life is so much better without it. And these are just a few of the different testimonials. But I want you to take a minute and just think about this, right? Imagine if you were to commit and do this work within 3 months, if you were to wake up and literally smile because you realized that one, you didn't drink last night, two, you had no desire to drink, you remembered everything that you did, you had plans for that day, you felt good, you felt energetic, you had just a whole new lease of life because you were no longer in the trap. You were no longer stuck in this pattern of drinking alcohol, all the repercussions, trying to stop and then back in, right? Just imagine how it would be. Well, that is exactly what I help you do in my program. So I know there was a few people that had asked specifically about how it would look like for us to work together. So I'm going to walk you through this process now. So I work with people on a one-on-one basis, and I take you through, there's a three-phase approach, right? So phase one is really understanding the trap and why you're in it and how to get out. I think of a trap, the alcohol trap, right? Because there's a few different pieces to that puzzle. Is like when you're in it, I like visualize, you know, those big tall hedges mazes, you know, the big tall hedge maze. Like if you're trying to get out, when the hedges are really tall and you're in it, you're running back and forward. You have no idea what's going on. You have no idea which way to go. You're just stuck. You're in a trap, right? But what we do in the first phase is like I lift you above the trap and give you the bird's eye view of what's really going on. And think how much easier it is to get out of that trap if you can look down and be like, this is why I'm trapped. There's that obstacle. That's, you know, that's fake and whatever. You get out so much easier once you have seen what is going on from the top. it's just so much easier to just find your way out and walk straight out of it. So that's what we really cover. We open your mind, as we briefly touched on some of the lies that we have been fed our whole life, right? That keep us addicted to alcohol and drinking, to drink poison, right? And I want you to think about that, the poison. This is another fact that I always love to share. It's like, it is actually just poison, but it's a beautifully marketed poison, right? Because you can even drink 100% alcohol because it would kill you. The highest percentage is like 40% because it's actually poison. And then all the marketers have filled it with like sugar and different flavors to try and to make it palatable for you, right? So we've all been duped into drinking this poison every day or every week for the rest of our lives, paying through the noses and killing ourselves doing it. So we're going to change in this phase. We do all this work and we change the way you look at alcohol forever. Phase 2 is about we systematically break down all of your unique beliefs, right? Because as I say, everyone is different. Your unique beliefs about alcohol that's keeping the subconscious desire alive. And then I help you to build new beliefs, gives you a new whole system and a way of thinking about alcohol, totally changes your mind, just like Kayla says, so that you are free. You no longer want to drink in any, like by any stretch of the imagination. You don't. And then in phase 3, it's all about equipping you with the tools to handle everything. So as I say, if it's you're having problems with your relationship, if it's your anxiety, if it's whatever, I'm a life coach. I can coach on all of these things and I give you the tools necessary to be able to handle it moving forward with your life. Okay. I then support you through the transition because there is a transition, just like anything. Like when you break up with a partner, even though you don't want to be with that person, it's still weird, right? You still are used to picking them up and going and seeing them and talking to them every day. There's a transition period, and I support you through that. That doesn't mean that it's like this big painful thing. It's just getting used to it. And I help you through that, right? I support you. And then from there, we do the intentionality bit. We intentionally choose how you want to live now that you're free. And we make goals and make plans. And, you have all this free time and money and all of it to be able to move forward and really start living the life that you want to live without having the noose around your neck that is alcohol. And the results that gives you is just everything that we've spoken about: freedom, money, your relationships. I think especially with me, for with my children and my partner, like I was a totally different person when I drank. Like to the point, I remember one person said to a friend of mine that they thought I had bipolar, right? Because when they met me sober, I was like this lovely person, right? Really nice, really friendly. And then they met me drunk and I was totally different. I was rude, aggressive, like I was told loads of stuff. Like that just shows how different it is. And now I just get to be me all the time. I don't ever need to worry about. So of course anxiety reduces, right? Because you're not worried about what stupid thing you did or said when you were drunk and offended people. It's been my life. I've then gone on to, I have multiple businesses. I've built businesses. I have the best relationship with my girls and my partner, and we're just going on to do bigger and better things. Honestly, drinking is the thing that holds you back. It holds back your potential. Think about how much more you could do with your life if you weren't like held back by that. And that's what I want you to think about. So the next step is, if all of this work and what I've spoken to you about has kind of got you thinking and thinking, this is what I want. I want to do it in a way that doesn't mean I'm in pain or struggling with it for the rest of my life or however long you want to do it. And this sounds like something that you want to put the work into. And when I say put the work into it, as I say, my process is not a tiresome thing to do. It really is a freeing experience. But if it is something that you are interested in finding out about working and getting the support from me to do that, then I would invite you to book in for a free 30-minute consult call with me. This is the opportunity for you to figure out if this system, this program that I have is right for you. We will talk about your unique situation. And together we will decide the right path forward for you, right? It's a great opportunity to find out if it's right for you, because it needs to be right. It's a one-on-one. And to make sure that, it's going to be the right move for you, right? So, sorry, my brain went blank there a minute. So you will now have an email with the link to my calendar. So you can go ahead and book an appointment. And book in for it now. Here's the one thing I will say is I am actually going away on Thursday. I'm going to Florida with the family to do all Disney things and all of that. So I can only take consult calls over the next 2 days, so Tuesday and Wednesday. So if this is something you want to get started on, I would recommend not to put it off. I've opened up as many spots as I possibly can in the next 2 days for this free call. So book in. Let's talk about it. I will be able, whether or not you decide that this is for you, you will get so much from this call because I will give you so much insight into where I see you going wrong, what it is that is going on for you. So I'd highly recommend you book that call. As I said, the email should be with you now with the link to book my calendar. I'm going to pop it in the chat right now as well, so you can click on that and book a slot. But other than that, I really hope that this has been helpful for you to see something that you've probably never seen before and see that there is a path forward. There is a different route for you to take. So I just want to say thank you for coming. Thank you for your time. I really, really hope this has been